At Vintage High School in Napa, California, students are tapping into an often overlooked resource, each other. With teacher and coordinator Harris Nussbaum, more than 300 students are reaching out to the community and to each other through peer counseling and community service programs. Nussbaum, who has been teaching at Vintage since 1972, has incorporated peer counseling and outreach as part of the curriculum of his psychology class for more than 20 years.
One of the most incredible untapped resources is student power. They're intuitive, they care about others, which we often forget about. So many people are afraid of students and young people, yet students want to feel that they can contribute to the world, that they can make a difference. And when we give them the chance to do that, they really do.
Vintage High School students participate in a wide range of service activities, from tutoring and working with special needs students to visiting senior citizens. Vintage volunteers can be found logging in hours at the Napa Valley AIDS Project, folk dancing with third graders at Pueblo Vista Elementary School, or assisting in a computer lab.
The importance of community service, you find value in your own life and security within your own life. I think a lot of teens, I myself found that in my 11th grade year. It was a pretty difficult time in my life, and I found security by helping other people. Enjoyed going to the classroom and the kids, oh, Katie's here, and them enjoying spending time with me, whether it was reading, helping them read, or going out on the playground with them, and just being a peer and a supportive peer, and not that authoritative figure as their teacher, but someone helpful in the classroom that can kind of be that in between the teacher and the student.
When Harris's students work the full year, they come away with a feeling of having really accomplished something. They find out about themselves, they find out what it's like. Actually, what they find out is that these students who outwardly look so different or act so different are really essentially the same as they are, with the same kinds of emotions and feelings and goals and wants and needs. And it's so powerful for them to find themselves in these other students.
In Vintage High School's peer counseling program, students learn to care for each other by learning to listen. Through the development of communication skills, they're seeing problems and situations in a new light.
We have students who are counseling individuals in elementary schools, middle schools, and high school students. The problems range from severe to just feeling like they need someone to talk to about friends or how to communicate better with others.
Teenagers have problems. All teenagers have difficult choices to make, and the peer support program seems to really give them tools to better make those decisions that will really affect the rest of their lives.
The program has the enthusiastic support of school officials and members of Napa's professional community. Counselors and interns in the field of psychology lend their insights and expertise. Service groups and adult volunteers provide valuable resources.
I worked with them on how to do listening skills and how to be empathetic, and a lot of that was just by how Harris and I would role model that. And we ran a group with the kids, is what we did, twice a week.
Students, appreciate that, wow, this person is taking time off work to show me what I could possibly be doing in the future, and they're not getting paid for it. And the whole idea, it doesn't take a dollar to, you don't have to have money to give something, to give life, to give inspiration.
Students are being recognized for the outstanding job they are doing and for the difference they've made in the lives of many people.
If you take a look at the last 2 years, the students contributed approximately 60,000 hours of service to the community. If you take and add that up in terms of dollars and cents, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars and millions of dollars over the years. The community service students have an opportunity not only to explore areas of interest to them, but probably most significant is they're able to get jobs as a result of it. Many of them get scholarships. The students, therefore, are being recognized, but most significant, I think, is what they're actually contributing to others. And the other part of that is the things that they walk away feeling about themselves.
I came from a broken home. My mother was addicted to drugs. That's why my father left as an alcoholic when I was 5. I was basically forced to help raise my little brother. And being Guamanian, the Guamanians are taught men don't cry. You take your emotions to the grave. It's probably why all my family dies in their 50s. And being involved with the program and everything really helped me to understand that it's not the way it has to be. There's no certain mold and no certain path you have to follow. That you're acceptable for who you are and what you choose to be. And it gave me the self-esteem to pursue it.
Doing the community work was that in high school I would drink and I would smoke pot, and it wasn't uncommon for me to do that at school. And it was like if I was going on that day to do that, that was the day that I knew I wouldn't do drugs and I knew I wouldn't drink. It was like not so much for myself, but because I was doing this for someone else. You know, I knew I needed to be sober, and I didn't want to blow it. And I didn't want to blow it for myself, and I didn't want to blow it because it was something for other people to be counting on me. It kind of gives you some like worth in yourself. So to know that you're making a difference in someone's life, to know that someone's looking forward to seeing you, you know, that's true for me.
I came here to Vintage High School in my freshman year. I was hanging around, well, with not necessarily the wrong crowd, but my friends were involved in gangs or drinking and just doing all kinds of crazy things, and we would cut school all the time. I was in the dean's office practically every single day. Mr. Nussbaum introduced me to the program, and he told me about community service and about helping my peers and listening to what they had to say. And I really liked that because I felt like I made an impact on someone's life, so that made me feel good about myself. I didn't really think about going on after high school, so now I'm going to get my bachelor's in psychology, and I'm getting my bachelor's in psychology because of this class.
I felt like I improved as a person, spiritually and morally, just greatly. I feel like I myself got better, and just because I was helping people, I felt like I slept better, and I don't know, it definitely made me want to be part of school and part of the life that I was in, you know, because a lot of kids tend to be like, oh, I just hate, you know, their instinct, I think, is, you know, I just hate this. I hate school, and I hate being here, and I don't want to be here, and, you know. And when I got involved in peer support, I just, you know, I had a reason to be here, and I had to, you know, I had a desire. I grew a desire to be involved.
When I was a junior, I signed up for, you know, the peer support program, unfortunately. And, you know, I was in it. I got into it, and I was so happy because there was, like, a group, and it was, like, our group was about 27 people, and it was nice because you get to, like, you get to talk to everybody. We had groups, like, I think it was every Thursdays or Wednesdays or something, we'd have a group, and then we'd all talk about, like, things that was going on. Like, we'd all check in, and we'd talk about, like, things that was going on in our lives. And it was great because, like, people, because you'd look at people in class, and you'd see them, like, during the week, and then they'd seem like they're the most happiest people in the world. But then when it came to check-in, when they talk about things that were going on in their lives, you see that they're normal people, that they have problems, too. When I was a junior, I figured out that everybody isn't as separated as we may think. Like, there's always something that kind of connects us, and it's like usually in our problems, like things that we would never think would happen. And I talk to people that I would normally never ever talk to. It's like people that I never hung out with, people that I never would speak to. And then some people, like before I was in, to had the class with them, I thought that I was like, oh, that person's stuck up. You know, I was like, oh my God, I'd never talk to that person, or, you know, that person's like too rich to be my friend or something like that, you know. But then you'll get to know them, and then you figure out they're like really great people.
The impact that I've gotten from peer support was the communication skills with others, and it's affected now in my workplace with work. It's affected me in college. I mean, communication affects you everywhere. But I could communicate better to people. I listen to people. I now listen to people first and then think of myself, so I've always think of myself and then other people type of deal. And that really opened my eyes. I worked at Napa Valley Nursing Home, and I did that for 1 year's worth of community service, and that was a big impact on my life. It was different for me to see senior citizens. I'd never been around a lot of senior citizens. At the nursing center, I really realized that they have so much that they could. When you sit down and talk to them, they have so much they could tell you. They're so full of wisdom, and they're very knowledgeable, and they have so much past. It's amazing. You can learn so. I learned so much from them that I probably learned in a lot of high school, a lot of history books, because they're so knowledgeable about their stuff. That was really, yeah, the senior citizen center. That was a great time.
I've learned so much from this program. This is a great, great program. I think one of the most valuable things I learned from it was how to listen and not just give people advice, to really sit down for 45 minutes at a time. I would sit down with a counselee and just listen to their problems and not try to offer them a solution and not try to be necessarily their guider, but just to really care about them and to really listen. I think that is the most valuable thing I could learn from it. Fantastic program for anybody. I think people that are interested in counseling, people that love to do volunteer work, community service, people that just want to get to know someone better, so they get to know themselves better. It's a program for everybody.